The morning light filters through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse, casting golden stripes across the white silk sheets. I wake slowly, cocooned in warmth, Alessandro's arm heavy across my waist, his breath steady against the back of my neck. For a moment, I let myself sink into this feeling, safe, loved, home. It's been 7 months since he walked into the community center where I taught art to at-risk kids. 7 months since he saw me covered in finger paint, arguing with a 10-year-old about whether dinosaurs could be purple. 7 months since he looked at me with those dark, dangerous eyes and said, "You're exactly what I've been looking for," though I didn't know it until now. I shift slightly, and his arm tightens instinctively, even in sleep. This is Alessandro Moretti, the man whose name makes grown men pale, who owns half of Chicago's underground, who has blood on his hands I'll never ask about. And yet, here, in the soft morning light, he's just the man who traces circles on my hip when he's thinking, who brings me coffee exactly how I like it, who whispers Italian endearments into my hair when he thinks I'm sleeping. My hand moves to my stomach, still flat but holding a secret that's transforming everything. 10 weeks. We found out 3 weeks ago, and I watched his face shift through shock, fear, wonder, and finally, a fierce protectiveness that made my breath catch. He dropped to his knees right there in our bathroom, pressing his forehead against my belly, and said in Italian, "I will keep you both safe. No matter what." "You're awake," his voice rumbles behind me, rough with sleep. "I can feel you thinking." I turn in his arms to face him. At 38, Alessandro is devastatingly handsome in that dangerous way, sharp jaw shadowed with morning stubble, dark hair falling over his forehead, eyes that shift between tenderness and something much darker depending on who's looking at him. Right now, they're soft, focused entirely on me. "Just counting my blessings," I say, and it's not a lie. He reaches up, tucking a strand of my auburn hair behind my ear. "You're too good for this world, Elena. Too good for my world." It's something he says often, usually right before he shows me exactly how thoroughly I belong to him anyway. "Stop," I whisper, pressing my finger to his lips. "We've been through this. I chose you. I choose you every day. Even knowing what I am. Especially knowing what you are." I lean forward, kissing him softly. "You're the man who funds my entire program anonymously. Who sits through terrible kindergarten art shows because I'm helping organize them. Who learned to make carbonara because I mentioned once that I missed it." His hand slides down to rest on my stomach. "And now you're giving me something I never thought I'd have. A family that isn't built on blood and loyalty and fear." The tenderness in his voice makes my chest ache. This is the Alessandro only I see, the boy who grew up too fast in a world that showed no mercy, who built walls so high around his heart I'm still amazed I found a way through. "I have to go in today," he says, and I hear the regret in his voice. "The meeting with the Calabrese family. It's been scheduled for months." I nod, understanding. The Calabrese situation has been brewing for weeks, territorial disputes, shipments going missing, tension that could explode into violence if not handled carefully. Alessandro has been working toward a peaceful resolution, spending hours in negotiations, trying to avoid bloodshed. "How long?" I ask. "Hopefully just the afternoon." "But Elena," his voice takes on that serious tone that means he's about to be overprotective, "Marco will be here if you need anything. And you have my private line." "I'll be fine," I assure him. "I'm just planning to grade some papers, maybe take a nap." Growing a human is exhausting work. He kisses my forehead, then my nose, then my lips. "Rest. I'll be home by dinner. I promise." If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. 2 hours later, he's gone, and I'm curled up on the couch in one of his shirts, student artwork spread across the coffee table. The penthouse feels enormous when he's not here, all marble and modern art and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago skyline. It's beautiful, but sometimes I miss my old studio apartment with its creaky radiator and view of a brick wall. That place felt like mine. This place, even after 7 months, sometimes feels like I'm playing dress-up in someone else's life. My phone buzzes, a text from my best friend Sarah. Lunch tomorrow. Need to hear all the pregnancy details you've been holding back. I smile, typing back, yes. But only if you promise not to cry again. Last time you scared the waiter. No promises. My best friend is growing a human. A tiny little human who will call me Auntie Sarah Ann. I laugh, setting the phone down. Sarah is the only person from my old life who knows about Alessandro, really knows. She was terrified at first when I told her who he was, what he did. But she also saw how he looked at me, how he treated me, and eventually she understood. Love isn't always safe, she'd said. But it should always be real. And that man. The way he watches you. That's as real as it gets. The cramp starts as a flutter, so subtle I almost dismiss it. I shift on the couch, trying to find a more comfortable position. But then it comes again, stronger this time, a pulling sensation low in my abdomen that makes me catch my breath. I sit up slowly, hand moving to my stomach. It's probably nothing. The doctor said cramping could be normal, especially in the first trimester. Stretching, growing, everything adjusting. But then I stand to go to the bathroom, and I feel it, a warm wetness between my legs that sends ice through my veins. No. No, please, no. I make it to the bathroom, and when I see the blood, my knees almost give out. It's not spotting. It's not the light pink that the doctor said could be normal. It's red. Too red. Too much. My hands shake as I grab my phone, immediately calling Alessandro's private line. It rings once, twice, 3 times, then goes to voicemail. Alessandro, my voice cracks. Something's wrong. I'm bleeding. I need to go to the hospital. Please call me back. I hang up, another cramp hitting me so hard I have to brace myself against the sink. I call again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. My mind races through options. Marco is downstairs, Alessandro's second in command, the man who's supposed to be available for anything I need. I call the number Alessandro gave me. Mrs. Moretti, Marco's voice is formal, respectful. He insists on calling me that even though Alessandro and I aren't married yet. How can I help you? Marco, I need to go to the hospital. Right now. And I need you to reach Alessandro. It's an emergency. There's a pause. Ma'am, Mr. Moretti is in a critical meeting. He's instructed that he not be disturbed unless. Marco. I cut him off, trying to keep my voice steady even as another cramp tears through me. I'm bleeding. I'm pregnant, and I'm bleeding, and I need to get to the hospital now. Please. His tone shifts immediately. I'll have the car ready in 2 minutes. I'm coming up. I throw on clothes with trembling hands, sweatpants, a jacket, not caring how I look. Marco appears at the door, his usually stoic face creased with concern. The hospital? He asks, already moving. Northwestern Memorial. The maternity emergency department. In the elevator, I try Alessandro again. Still voicemail. The panic is building in my chest, making it hard to breathe. This can't be happening. We just found out. We just started making plans. He just told me about the nursery he wanted to build, how he wanted to paint it ourselves, together, not hire someone. I'll keep trying to reach him, Marco says quietly as we speed through Chicago traffic. I'll get through to him, Mrs. Moretti. I promise. But when we pull up to the emergency entrance, Alessandro still hasn't called back, and the cramping is getting worse, and I'm so scared I can barely think straight. Marco wants to come in with me, but I shake my head. Stay with the car. Keep trying to reach him. Please, Marco. He needs to know. I'll get through to him, he says again, and I want to believe him. The emergency department is bright and cold and smells like antiseptic. I walk up to the registration desk, and the woman there looks up with a professional smile that falters when she sees my face. I'm pregnant, I say, my voice small. 10 weeks. And I'm bleeding. Everything happens quickly after that. They get me into a wheelchair, into a room, a nurse is asking me questions I can barely answer. When was your last period? Do you have cramping? On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain? 7, I whisper. Maybe 8. Is my baby okay? Please, is my baby okay? I'm on my way. Don't move. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Elena, tell me what's wrong. Please, Kara. Talk to me. There's no rush, I say quietly. There's nothing you can do. Not anymore. What do you mean? Elena. The baby's gone, Alessandro. The words come out clinical, detached, like I'm reading someone else's tragedy. I miscarried. It's over. The silence on the other end is deafening. I can hear his breathing, ragged and harsh. When? His voice breaks on the word. When did this happen? I called you at 2:30. I lost our baby around 5. It's 8:30 now. I let the math sink in. You're about 6 hours too late. Elena, I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. If I had known. But you didn't. I cut him off, that cold, hard thing in my chest growing. Because you were in a meeting. Because your phone was off. Because your world, your business, your empire, it all comes first. It always has. I just forgot that for a while. That's not fair. You know how important. I waited for you, I interrupt, and now there are tears in my voice. For 6 hours, I waited for you. I called and called and called. I asked Marco to reach you. I left messages. And I waited because I actually thought, that when you found out, you'd move heaven and earth to get to me. That I would matter more than a meeting. That our baby would matter more than business. Elena, please. Don't come to the hospital, I say. I'm leaving soon anyway. Sarah is taking me home. Home. You mean our home? I'll meet you there. No. The word is final. Not our home. My home. I'm going to Sarah's. Elena, don't do this. Let me explain. Let me. There's nothing to explain, Alessandro. I close my eyes, feeling the weight of this day, this loss, this realization. Your world doesn't have room for what I need. For what a family would need. I understand that now. I just wish I'd understood it sooner. You can't leave me. We can work through this. We can. I already left, I whisper. I left the moment I realized I was going to lose our baby alone. That you weren't coming. That you didn't even know to come. I'm just making it official now. I end the call before he can respond, before I can hear his voice break, before my resolve can crack. Sarah wraps her arms around me as I finally let myself shatter, sobbing into her shoulder for everything I've lost, the baby, the man, the future I'd foolishly let myself imagine. My phone starts ringing immediately. Alessandro calling back. Then again. Then again. I turn it off, and the silence feels like both relief and devastation. Come on, Sarah says gently. Let's get you out of here. As we walk through the hospital corridors, I catch my reflection in a window, pale, hollow-eyed, fundamentally changed. This morning I woke up in Alessandro's arms, carrying his child, believing in our future. Tonight, I'm leaving empty-handed, empty-hearted, empty in ways I didn't know a person could be empty. Behind us, I hear a commotion. Raised voices. Someone shouting. I know without looking that it's Alessandro, that he's here, that he's trying to reach me. Keep walking, Sarah says, her arm tight around my waist. Don't look back. So I don't. I walk forward into the Chicago night, away from the hospital, away from the man I love, away from everything I thought my life was going to be. I don't look back, even though every cell in my body is screaming to turn around. Even though I can hear him calling my name. Even though 6 hours ago, hearing his voice would have been the only thing that could have saved me. But 6 hours ago is a lifetime away. And the woman who loved Alessandro Moretti, who believed in him, who trusted him with her heart and her future and her child, she died in that hospital room alone. I'm someone different now. And I have no idea who that person is supposed to be. Sarah's guest room is painted a cheerful yellow that feels like an insult. Sunlight streams through the curtains every morning, and I want to rip them down, to live in darkness that matches what I feel inside. It's been 3 days since the hospital. 3 days since I turned off my phone and haven't turned it back on. 3 days of Sarah bringing me tea I don't drink and toast I can't eat, of her sitting on the edge of my bed just being present because she knows there are no words that can fix this. The doctor will be here soon, the nurse says, kindness in her eyes. We're going to do an ultrasound. Is there anyone we can call for you? I give them Alessandro's number, knowing even as I do that he won't answer a call from a hospital line either. Not when he's in that meeting. Not when he's trying to prevent a war. They help me into a gown, and I lie on the bed, staring at the ceiling tiles and counting them because if I stop counting, I'll start screaming. 24 tiles. The light panel is flickering in the corner. Someone is crying in the room next door. The clock on the wall says 2:47 p.m. My phone is clutched in my hand, and I try Alessandro again. And again. And again. Each time it goes to voicemail, something inside me cracks a little more. The doctor arrives, a woman in her 50s with gentle eyes and steady hands. Elena. I'm Dr. Patel. Let's take a look and see what's going on, okay? She sets up the ultrasound machine, squeezing gel onto my stomach. The screen flickers to life, black and gray and incomprehensible. I search for the flutter of a heartbeat, that tiny flashing light we saw 3 weeks ago when Alessandro squeezed my hand so hard it hurt and said, "There. That's our baby. That's our miracle." Dr. Patel moves the wand, searching. The silence stretches too long. Her face is carefully neutral, professionally kind, and I know. I know before she says anything. "Elena," she says softly, "I'm so sorry. There's no heartbeat. You're having a miscarriage." The world tilts. The fluorescent lights blur. I can hear her talking about what happens next, about options and procedures and grief counseling, but it sounds like she's underwater, like she's 1,000 miles away. My boyfriend, I hear myself say. I need my boyfriend. Please, someone call him. Please. What's his number? I recite it, knowing it won't matter. Knowing he won't answer. Knowing I'm going to lose this baby in a hospital room alone because the man I love is in a meeting he can't leave, solving problems more important than me, than us, than the family we were supposed to be building. It's going to voicemail, the nurse says apologetically. Would you like me to leave a message? What message could possibly matter? What words could make him appear? I shake my head, tears finally breaking free. Is there anyone else we can call? Dr. Patel asks. Sarah, I whisper, giving them her number. Sarah Turner. While they make the call, I lie there, hand on my stomach, mourning the life that's slipping away. 10 weeks of hope. 10 weeks of imagining tiny fingers and Alessandro's eyes and first words and first steps. 10 weeks of believing we could have something normal, something pure, something that existed outside his dark world. The cramping gets worse. They offer me pain medication, and I take it, grateful for anything that might dull this agony, physical and emotional. Time becomes elastic, stretching and compressing. At some point, Sarah arrives, her face pale, her hand finding mine. Oh, honey, she whispers, and she's crying harder than I am. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He doesn't know, I tell her. He still doesn't know. Let me try to reach him, she says, grabbing my phone. But she has no better luck than anyone else. The hours pass. 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. They confirm the miscarriage is complete, their words, clinical and cold. They talk about follow-up appointments and warning signs and when I can try again, as if trying again could ever replace what I've lost today. Sarah holds my hand through all of it. Brings me water I can't drink. Helps me to the bathroom when I need it. Strokes my hair while I cry. At 8:30 p.m., 6 hours after I first called him, my phone finally rings. Alessandro's name lights up the screen. I stare at it, something cold and hard settling in my chest. 6 hours. It took him 6 hours to call me back. Do you want me to answer it? Sarah asks gently. I shake my head, reaching for the phone. My hand is steady as I answer. My voice, when I speak, is steadier still. Elena, mi amore, I'm so sorry. The meeting went longer than expected, and they took our phones. Marco just told me you called. Are you okay? Is the baby okay? Where are you? The questions come rapid fire, tinged with panic, and there was a time, 6 hours ago, when hearing his voice would have been enough. When knowing he cared would have mattered. I'm at Northwestern Memorial, I say, my voice flat, empty. In the maternity emergency department. On the 4th day, I finally turn on my phone. 63 missed calls from Alessandro. 47 text messages. 12 voicemails I can't bring myself to listen to. There are also messages from Marco, from people at the community center wondering where I am, from my doctor's office about a follow-up appointment. I delete everything from Alessandro without reading it. Every single message. Then I block his number. Sarah finds me on the bathroom floor 20 minutes later, sobbing so hard I can't breathe. I loved him, I gasped between sobs. I loved him so much, and I thought we could make it work. I thought love would be enough. She holds me, rocking me like a child. Love is never enough when there's no respect. No priority. No showing up. He would have shown up, I say, defending him even now. If he'd known. But he didn't know, Elena. Because he made himself unreachable. Because he chose a meeting over making sure you could reach him. Because his world doesn't allow for emergencies that aren't his own. She pulls back to look at me. You can love someone and still know they're wrong for you. The truth of her words cuts deeper than I want to admit. That afternoon, I force myself to shower, to get dressed, to look like a person who might eventually be okay. I'm standing in Sarah's kitchen, staring at a cup of coffee I've forgotten to drink, when her doorbell rings. I'll get it, she calls from the living room. I hear the door open, then Sarah's voice, sharp and protective. Absolutely not. You need to leave. Please. Alessandro's voice sends a jolt through my entire body. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. 5 minutes to see that she's okay. She's not okay, Sarah snaps. Because of you. So no, you don't get 5 minutes. You don't get anything. Sarah, please. I appear in the doorway before I can stop myself, and the sight of him steals my breath. He looks wrecked. His suit is wrinkled, his hair disheveled, dark circles under bloodshot eyes. He hasn't shaved, and there's a wildness in his expression I've never seen before. When he sees me, something breaks across his face. Elena. You need to leave, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I know. I will. He runs a hand through his hair, the gesture so familiar it hurts. I need to say this. I need you to hear it. There's nothing you can say. I failed you. The words come out raw, desperate. I failed you when you needed me most. I failed our baby. There's no excuse, no explanation that makes it better. I know that. But Elena, I need you to know that not being there, missing those calls, it's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Tears blur my vision. It haunts me too. Every hour I waited. Every call that went to voicemail. Every time I thought, maybe now. Maybe this time he'll answer. He flinches like I've struck him. I would have come. If I'd known. But you didn't know. My voice rises. That's the point, Alessandro. You made yourself unknowable. Unreachable. And when I needed you, when our baby needed you, you weren't there. Let me make it right, he pleads. Tell me how to make it right. You can't. The finality in my voice surprises even me. You can't bring back what we lost. You can't give me back those hours. You can't undo the fact that I went through the worst moment of my life completely alone. You have every right to hate me. I don't hate you, I interrupt, and it's true. I wish I did. Hate would be easier. But I don't. I just can't be with you anymore. Your life, your world, there's no space in it for what I need. Then I'll change it, he says immediately. I'll restructure everything. No. I shake my head. You can't change who you are, Alessandro. And I wouldn't want you to. But I can't live in your world anymore. I can't keep waiting for you to choose me over the next crisis, the next deal, the next war. I can't bring children into that life. The word children makes his face crumble. Elena. Please go, I whisper. Please. If you ever loved me, just go. For a long moment, he just looks at me, drinking in every detail like he's trying to memorize my face. Then, slowly, he nods. If you need anything, he says quietly. Anything at all. Marco will. I don't want Marco. I don't want your protection or your money or your guilt. I just want you to leave me alone. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small velvet box. My heart stutters. I was going to give you this the night it happened. After the meeting. I had it all planned, dinner at that Italian place you love, the one with the garden. I was going to tell you that I wanted to marry you before the baby came. That I wanted you to be my wife, my family, my everything. He sets the box on the hall table. I still want that. I'll always want that. But I understand it's too late. His voice breaks. I'll go. But Elena, if you ever change your mind, if you ever need me, I'll be there. No meetings, no business, no world that matters more than you. I promise you that. Your promises are 6 hours too late, I say, and the cruelty of it makes him flinch. But he doesn't argue. He just nods, turns, and walks away. Sarah closes the door behind him. We stand there in silence, listening to his footsteps fade, listening to the car engine start and pull away. "You okay?" Sarah asks softly. "No," I say. "But I will be. Eventually." I don't look at the ring box. Not that day. Not the next. The following week, I return to the community center. My supervisor, Margaret, a kind woman in her 60s, hugs me tight when she sees me. "We heard," she says simply. "I'm so sorry, Elena." I don't ask how she heard. In Alessandro's world, information spreads through channels I've never fully understood. But I'm grateful she doesn't pry, doesn't ask questions I don't want to answer. "I need this," I tell her. "I need to work. To focus on something that matters." She studies my face, then nods. "Your kids have missed you. Especially Mia. She's been asking when Miss Elena is coming back." Mia is 7, tiny for her age, with a shy smile and a gift for painting that takes my breath away. She lives with her grandmother after her mother died of an overdose. She rarely speaks, but when she paints, she tells stories more eloquent than words. When I walk into the art room, Mia looks up from her easel, and her whole face lights up. She runs to me, wrapping her thin arms around my waist, and I feel something in my chest crack open, not breaking, but softening. Letting a little light in. "I missed you too, sweetheart," I whisper into her dark hair. That night, I'm cleaning paintbrushes when Margaret appears in the doorway. "Elena. There's someone here to see you." My heart stutters. If it's Alessandro. It's not. Her expression is strange, concerned, wary. It's a woman. Says her name is Bianca Moretti. Alessandro's mother. I've heard about her but never met her. Alessandro rarely speaks about his family, and when he does, there's a complicated mix of love and resentment in his voice. "Send her in," I say, curious despite myself. Bianca Moretti is striking, late 50s, perfectly styled silver hair, dressed in elegant black, with the same dark eyes as her son. But where Alessandro's eyes can be cold, calculating, hers hold a deep sadness that makes her seem almost fragile. "Elena," she says, her Italian accent more pronounced than Alessandro's. "Thank you for seeing me. I know you have no reason to. Why are you here, Mrs. Moretti?" "Bianca, please." She moves further into the room, looking at the children's artwork on the walls. "My son is destroying himself. He hasn't slept more than an hour at a time since," she pauses. "Since he lost you both. He lost us 6 months ago when he chose a meeting over." "I know." Her voice is gentle but firm. "I know what he did. I know he failed you. But Elena, you must understand, my son has never known how to be anything other than what his father made him. Cold. Controlled. Always putting the family first. I'm not his family," I say quietly. "Not anymore. But you were going to be." She turns to face me. "You were carrying his child. His heir. Do you know what that means in our world? Hope. Future. A chance at something beyond blood and violence." If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. "It doesn't matter what it meant," I say. "It's gone. The baby is gone," Bianca agrees. "But the love isn't. I see it in his eyes when he says your name. I saw it in your face just now when I mentioned him. You love him still. Love isn't enough. Love is all that matters." She steps closer. "My husband died when Alessandro was 23. Too young to lead. Too young for the weight of an empire. He hardened himself to survive it, to prove he was worthy of his father's legacy. But he's still that boy underneath, Elena. The one who wanted to paint before his father told him art was weakness. The one who dreamed of a quiet life before he inherited a kingdom. The revelation about painting stuns me. Alessandro never mentioned it. Never hinted at it. He painted. A sad smile touches Bianca's lips. Beautifully. Until his father found his sketches and burned them all. Told him that Moretti men don't create, they conquer. I think of Mia, of how art gives her a voice when words fail. I think of Alessandro's face when he watched me teach, the longing I sometimes caught in his eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because I don't want you to forgive him, Bianca says, surprising me. Not yet. Maybe not ever, if he doesn't earn it. But I want you to understand him. And I want you to know that he's trying to change. He restructured his entire organization this week. Appointed Marco as his second, gave him authority to make decisions in his absence. Set up protocols so he's never unreachable again. That doesn't change what happened. No, it doesn't, she agrees. But it shows he heard you. That he's trying to become someone worthy of a second chance. She reaches into her purse and pulls out an envelope. He doesn't know I'm here. He'd be furious if he found out. But I thought you should have these. Inside the envelope are photographs, old, faded Polaroids. A young Alessandro, maybe 8 or 9, grinning at the camera with paint splattered on his face. Another of him showing off a canvas, a sunset, crude but earnest. The joy in his young face breaks my heart. That was before, Bianca says softly. Before his father broke the dreamer out of him and left only the warrior. I stare at the photographs, seeing the boy who became the man I love. The boy who learned to make himself untouchable because being vulnerable got you hurt. I should go, Bianca says. But Elena, think about what I said. Not for his sake. For yours. Because I think you need him as much as he needs you. And I think walking away from that kind of love, even wounded love, might be something you regret for the rest of your life. After she leaves, I sit alone in the empty art room, surrounded by children's paintings and memories, staring at photographs of a boy who wanted to create beauty before he was taught to create fear. And for the first time since the hospital, I let myself wonder, what if love could be enough? What if people could change? What if a second chance was possible? The question is still echoing in my mind when I leave the center that night. The street is dark, the Chicago cold biting through my jacket. I'm fishing for my keys when I hear footsteps behind me, too close, too fast. I turn and a man grabs my arm, yanking me toward a black van idling at the curb. I scream, fighting back, my self-defense instincts kicking in. But he's stronger, and there's a second man now, his hand clamping over my mouth. Stop fighting, he hisses in Italian. Ferrero wants a word. Ferrero. One of Alessandro's rivals. The name sends ice through my veins. I bite down hard on the hand covering my mouth. He jerks back with a curse, and I manage to break free, running back toward the community center. But I only make it 3 steps before I'm tackled from behind, hitting the pavement hard. My head bounces off the concrete, stars exploding across my vision. The last thing I see before everything goes black is one of them pulling out a phone, speaking rapidly in Italian. We have her. Tell Ferrero we have Moretti's woman. And then, nothing. I wake to darkness and the smell of mildew. My head is pounding, and when I try to move, I realize my hands are zip-tied behind my back, my ankles bound to a chair. Panic floods through me. I'm in some kind of warehouse or storage room, cement floor, metal walls, a single bare bulb swinging overhead. There's a door to my right, closed and probably locked. Help! I scream. Somebody help me. The door opens, and a man walks in, older, well-dressed, with cold eyes and a cruel smile. This must be Ferrero. Miss Russo, he says in accented English. How kind of you to join us. Let me go, I demand, trying to keep my voice steady. Whatever you want, Alessandro will. Alessandro will do exactly what I tell him to, Ferrero interrupts. Or I'll send you back to him piece by piece. Starting with those delicate artist's fingers. Terror grips me, but I force myself to meet his eyes. He's not going to negotiate with you. We're not together anymore. Oh, I know all about your little breakup. Ferrero circles my chair like a predator. Very dramatic. Very emotional. But you see, Elena, may I call you Elena, you're still valuable to me. Because Alessandro Moretti is still in love with you. And men in love do very stupid things. He pulls out his phone, snapping a photo of me tied to the chair. This goes to Alessandro with a simple message: your territories in the port, your shipments through Cicero Avenue, and your connections with the Calabrese family. Sign them all over to me, or she dies. He has 24 hours. He won't do it, I say, though I'm not sure I believe it. He's not going to dismantle his empire for me. Ferrero smiles. Then I guess we'll find out just how much you mean to him. And if you don't, well, I've been wanting to hurt Alessandro Moretti for a very long time. Killing the woman he loves seems like an excellent place to start. He leaves, locking the door behind him. I'm alone in the cold room, zip-tied to a chair, my head throbbing, my heart racing. And despite everything, despite the anger, the grief, the broken trust, there's only one thought in my mind. Please, Alessandro. Please come for me. Even though you weren't there before. Even though you failed me when I needed you most. Please don't fail me now. Because if you don't come, I'm going to die here. And I'm not ready to die. Not yet. The photo comes through at 11:47 p.m. I'm in my office, staring at paperwork I can't read because all I see is Elena's face when she told me to leave. Elena's voice when she said my promises were 6 hours too late. Then my phone buzzes, and my world stops. Elena. Tied to a chair. Terror in her eyes. Bruise forming on her temple. And a message from an unknown number. Your territories. Your shipments. Your Calabrese connections. Sign them over by midnight tomorrow, or she dies. You failed to protect your baby. Don't fail to protect her too. The phone shatters in my hand. I don't remember throwing it, don't remember the roar that tears from my throat. Marco bursts through the door, gun drawn, eyes scanning for threats. Call everyone, I say, my voice deadly calm now. The rage has crystallized into something cold and sharp. Every soldier, every connection, every person who owes us a favor. I want them here in 20 minutes. And get me a location on this number. I don't care what it takes. Boss. Now, Marco. He's already dialing as he runs. I stand at my office window, looking out at Chicago, and I make a vow. If Ferrero has hurt her, if he's touched a single hair on her head, I will burn his entire world to the ground. I will make him beg for death before I grant it. And I will do it slowly, methodically, so he understands exactly what it means to take something from Alessandro Moretti. My mother appears in the doorway, still in her nightgown. Alessandro. What's happened? Ferrero has Elena. Her face goes white. No. Oh God, no. I'm getting her back. I turn to face her. Whatever it costs. Whatever I have to give up. I'm getting her back. Of course you are. She crosses the room, taking my face in her hands like she did when I was a boy. But Alessandro, when you get her back, you can't make the same mistakes. You can't expect her to just forgive and forget. I know. Do you? Her eyes bore into mine. Because that girl went through hell alone while you were in a meeting. She lost your child while you were building your empire. And now she's been taken because of your world. If you want her to stay, if you want a real chance, you have to show her she comes first. Not just with words. With actions. I will. Then maybe start by understanding that rescuing her isn't enough. You have to rescue yourself too. From this life. From what Papa made you into. From the belief that power matters more than people. I pull away, anger flaring. Papa built everything we have. Papa died alone and unloved, surrounded by soldiers instead of family. Her voice is harsh now. Is that what you want? To end up like him? Feared but not loved. Obeyed but not chosen. The words hit like physical blows because they're true. My father died in his office, working, alone except for his bodyguards. No wife to hold his hand. No children at his bedside. Just the empire he built, cold and impersonal as a tomb. I won't lose her, I say quietly. I can't. Then don't give her a reason to run. Marco returns. We've got a location. Warehouse in Bridgeport. Ferrero's using it as a temporary base while his usual properties are under renovation. How many men does he have there? Our guy inside says 8, maybe 10. But boss, it's fortified. Steel doors. Security cameras. They'll see us coming. Let them. I grab my jacket, check my gun. I want them to see us coming. I want Ferrero to know exactly what's about to happen to him. Elena. Hours pass. I don't know how many. The cold seeps into my bones, making me shiver uncontrollably. My wrists are raw from the zip ties, my shoulders screaming from being pulled back for so long. I try to stay calm, to think of anything except where I am and what might happen. I think about my students. About Mia's shy smile. About Sarah's terrible jokes. About my grandmother's stories from the old country. I think about Alessandro. About the morning I woke up in his arms, safe and loved. About the way he kissed my stomach and whispered to our baby. About how he looked at me like I was his entire world. And I think about the hospital. About the hours of waiting. About the moment I realized he wasn't coming. About how something fundamental broke inside me that night. Can broken things be fixed? Or are they just broken forever? The door opens. Ferrero enters with 2 of his men. Your boyfriend received my message, he says conversationally. Would you like to know what he said? I don't answer, but he continues anyway. He said, and I quote, "You can have everything. Just don't hurt her." Ferrero smiles. Touching, really. He's willing to give up his entire empire for you. Makes one wonder why he wasn't willing to answer his phone when you needed him. The cruelty of the words makes me flinch. Of course, I'm not actually going to let you go, Ferrero continues. Even if he signs everything over. Because you see, Elena, the greatest revenge isn't taking his territories. It's taking you. Making him live with the knowledge that he failed to protect you. Again. He'll kill you, I say quietly. When he finds me, and he will find me, he'll kill you. Perhaps. Ferrero shrugs. But it will be worth it to see his face when he realizes he's too late. Again. He nods to his men, and they move toward me. Terror floods through me. I try to scream, but one of them backhands me hard enough that my head snaps to the side, blood filling my mouth. Not yet, Ferrero says, stopping them. We wait until midnight. Let him suffer, wondering. Let him imagine what we might be doing to her. Then An explosion rocks the building. The lights flicker and die, plunging us into darkness. Gunfire erupts, rapid and close. What the hell? Ferrero starts. The door bursts open. Muzzle flashes illuminate the chaos. Bodies hit the floor. More gunfire, screams, the acrid smell of cordite filling the air. Then, silence. Emergency lights kick in, bathing everything in red. And there, standing in the doorway, covered in blood that isn't his, gun still raised, is Alessandro. Our eyes meet across the room. His face is a mask of controlled fury, but when he sees me, sees the blood on my mouth, the bruise on my face, the tears on my cheeks, something breaks in his expression. Elena, he breathes. How touching, Ferrero says, and suddenly there's a gun pressed to my temple. He must have drawn it during the firefight. One more step, Moretti, and I paint the walls with her brain. Alessandro freezes. Behind him, I can see Marco and at least 6 other men, all armed, all waiting for Alessandro's signal. Let her go, Alessandro says, his voice deadly calm. This is between you and me. Everything is between you and me, Ferrero spits. You took my territories. My respect. My place in this city. Now I'm taking what you love. You can't take what's already lost, I say quietly, surprising myself. I left him, remember. We're not together. So killing me won't hurt him the way you think it will. Alessandro's eyes flash to mine, pain and something else, understanding, in their depths. Liar, Ferrero says, but there's uncertainty in his voice. He gave up everything for you. Because he's guilty, I continue, my voice stronger now. Because he failed me once, and he doesn't want to fail me again. But guilt isn't love. And I don't love him anymore. So if you kill me, all you're doing is taking away his opportunity to assuage his guilt. Is that really the revenge you want? It's a gamble. A desperate attempt to make myself worthless to Ferrero, to remove the leverage I represent. But as I speak the words, I don't love him anymore. I see Alessandro's face crumble, see him believe it, and something inside me screams in protest. Because it's not true. God help me, it's not true. Ferrero's grip on the gun loosened slightly. You really don't love him. I did, I say, and my voice breaks on the words. I loved him more than I knew it was possible to love someone. But love isn't enough when you're not there. When you choose everything else first. When you let someone face their worst nightmare alone. Elena, Alessandro's voice is raw. So shoot me if you want, I continue, ignoring him, focusing on Ferrero. But you won't be killing Alessandro Moretti's great love. You'll just be killing a woman who made the mistake of believing a monster could change. And that's not nearly as satisfying a revenge, is it? For a long moment, no one moves. Then Ferrero laughs, bitter and harsh. You're right. It's not. He lowers the gun from my temple, and points it at Alessandro instead. But killing him in front of you. Making you watch the man you claim not to love bleed out on this floor. Now that feels like revenge. He pulls the trigger. Everything happens in slow motion. I scream, throwing my weight sideways, tipping the chair. Alessandro dives. The bullet meant for his heart hits his shoulder instead. He hits the ground, rolling, his own gun coming up. 2 shots. Clean. Precise. Ferrero drops, dead before he hits the floor. Then Marco and the others are rushing in, cutting me free, checking for injuries. But I can't focus on them. I can only see Alessandro, blood spreading across his shirt, trying to stand, trying to get to me. Stay down, Marco orders him. You're bleeding. Elena. Alessandro shoves him away, stumbling toward me. Are you hurt? Did they? You're shot, I say stupidly, my hands reaching for him even as my mind screams at me to keep my distance. You're shot, and you're bleeding, Anne. I'm fine. He's right in front of me now, his hands framing my face, thumbs wiping away tears I didn't realize I was crying. Are you hurt? Did they hurt you? My face. That's all. Alessandro, your shoulder. Doesn't matter. His eyes are wild, desperate. Nothing matters except, Elena, what you said. About not loving me. Please tell me you didn't mean it. Please tell me that was just to throw him off. I stare at him. At this dangerous, complicated, infuriating man who just took a bullet for me. Who gave up his empire without hesitation. Who's bleeding and should be sitting down but instead is holding my face like I'm the most precious thing in the world. I meant it, I whisper, and watch him die a little. I meant that I don't love who you were. The man who made himself unreachable. Who let me go through hell alone. Who built walls so high I couldn't find a way through when I needed him most. I know, he says, his voice breaking. I know, and I'm so. Let me finish. I place my hand over his heart, feeling it pound beneath my palm. I don't love that man. But I think I could love who you're trying to become. The man who restructured his organization so he'd never miss another call. Who's bleeding but checked on me first. Who was willing to give up everything without hesitation. Hope flickers in his eyes. Elena. I'm not saying I forgive you, I continue quickly. I'm not saying we can just go back to how things were. But I'm saying, maybe, we could try something new. Something different. Something where I come first, not just when I'm in danger, but every day. Every hour. Every moment. Yes. The word is instant, fervent. Yes, to all of it. I swear to you, Elena. Don't swear, I interrupt. Just show me. Every day. Show me that you choose me. Choose us. Choose the life we could build together over the empire you've already built. I will. He pulls me closer, wincing as the movement pulls his injured shoulder. I'll spend the rest of my life showing you. Elena, when I saw that photo, when I thought I might lose you, I realized something. My empire means nothing if you're not in it. My power is worthless if I can't protect what matters most. And what matters most, what has always mattered most, is you. You need a hospital, I say, noticing how pale he's gotten. You're losing blood. In a minute. He reaches into his jacket, his uninjured side, and pulls out the small velvet box I left sitting on Sarah's hall table. I've been carrying this for weeks. Hoping. Waiting for a chance. Elena Russo, I know I don't deserve you. I know I failed you in the worst way possible. But I'm asking anyway, will you marry me? Will you let me spend my life making up for that failure? Will you give me a chance to be the man you deserve? I look at the ring, a simple solitaire, elegant and perfect. I look at his face, battered and bloody and more vulnerable than I've ever seen it. I look at the warehouse around us, at the bodies on the floor, at the evidence of the violence that will always be part of his world. And I think about the hospital. About sitting alone. About the hours of grief and fear and abandonment. About the baby we lost because life is fragile and sometimes tragedy strikes without warning or reason. But I also think about waking up in his arms. About the way he looked at me when we heard our baby's heartbeat. About his mother's photos of a boy who wanted to create instead of destroy. About the man who just gave up everything without hesitation because I needed him. Ask me again in 6 months, I say finally. Show me first that you can be who you promised to be. Show me that I come first. That we come first. And then ask me again. Disappointment flashes across his face, but he nods. 6 months. I'll prove it to you, Elena. I swear I will. No swearing, I remind him gently. Just doing. Boss, Marco interrupts. We need to get you to a doctor. Now. Alessandro looks like he wants to argue, but I nod. Go. Get patched up. I'll be there. You're coming with me. There's such hope in his voice it makes my chest ache. I'm coming with you, I confirm. But Alessandro, I'm going home to Sarah's after. I need space. Time. I need to process what happened tonight, what's been happening. We can't just jump back in. I understand. He does, I can see it in his eyes. But Elena, I'm not giving up. I'm not walking away. I'm going to fight for you every single day until you believe in us again. Good, I say softly. Because I want to believe again. I just need time. 6 months later. The community center has a new wing. Art rooms 3 times the size of the old ones, with proper ventilation and lighting and supplies. There's a plaque by the entrance that reads, "In memory of those we've lost, and in hope for what we can build together." Alessandro funded it. Anonymously, through a foundation, so no one would connect it to him. But I know. And more importantly, he knows I know, and he's never once asked for credit or recognition. He's been showing up. Not just with money, but with presence. He comes to the center twice a week, teaching kids basic carpentry in the workshop he designed. Turns out his father couldn't destroy his need to create, just buried it. The kids love him. Mia especially, who started painting portraits of Mr. Alessandro with surprising emotional depth. We have dinner every Thursday. Sometimes at restaurants, sometimes at his place, sometimes at Sarah's apartment where I still have my room even though I've slowly been moving my things back to the penthouse. We talk about everything, his restructuring of the organization, my students, his therapy, yes, Alessandro Moretti goes to therapy now, my own sessions dealing with the miscarriage grief that hasn't gone away, just softened into something manageable. We haven't slept together. Haven't even kissed beyond chaste pecks hello and goodbye. We're rebuilding from the ground up, and both of us know that rushing would be a mistake. But tonight is different. Tonight is exactly 6 months since the warehouse. Since he asked me to marry him and I said to ask again in 6 months. I'm at the penthouse, in the kitchen, making dinner. He offered to cook, but I wanted to do this. To show him that I can exist in his space, in his world, without losing myself. The door opens. Elena. In here. He appears in the kitchen doorway, and my breath catches. 6 months of therapy and reduced stress have been good to him. He looks lighter somehow, younger, more like the boy in those photographs than the hard man I first met. You're cooking, he says, surprise and pleasure mingling in his voice. I'm attempting to cook. I gesture at the slightly lopsided lasagna. No promises about whether it's edible. He moves closer, and I can smell his cologne, feel his warmth. It smells perfect. Liar. Truth. He's right behind me now, not touching but close enough that every nerve ending is aware of him. Elena. I know what tonight is, I interrupt, turning to face him. I haven't forgotten. His eyes search mine. And I reach up, touching his face, tracing the line of his jaw. And I have some questions first. Anything. If I marry you, what happens to the business? The territories. The danger. He doesn't hesitate. Marco is taking over day-to-day operations. I'm transitioning to a consulting role, strategy, negotiations, but nothing that requires me to be unreachable or unavailable. As for danger, he pauses. I can't promise there won't be any. My name alone will always carry some risk. But I can promise that security will be airtight. That you'll never be vulnerable the way you were with Ferrero. And that if anything ever threatens you again, the entirety of my resources will be dedicated to your protection. I nod slowly. Okay. Second question, if we have children, when we have children, what kind of father will you be? His expression softens. The kind who shows up. Who answers every call. Who teaches them to paint and build and create instead of just conquer. Who shows them that strength doesn't mean being untouchable, it means being brave enough to be vulnerable with the people you love. Tears prick my eyes. Third question, the baby we lost. We've never really talked about it. Not about the grief, or what it meant, or... I think about them every day, he interrupts gently. Every single day. I wonder if they would have had your eyes or my stubborn chin. If they would have loved art like their mother or numbers like their father. And I mourn them, Elena. Not just the life they didn't get to live, but the fact that I failed them before they even had a chance. You didn't fail them, I say, my voice thick. Biology failed them. Bad luck failed them. You failed me. And that's different. But connected, he says. If I'd been there, maybe the stress would have been less. Maybe. No. I place my hand over his heart. We can't play that game. We can't what if ourselves into madness. The baby's death wasn't your fault. Your absence during it, that was. But the death itself. That was just tragedy. Random and cruel and no one's fault. He pulls me close, and I let him, resting my head against his chest. I want to try again, he whispers. Someday, when you're ready. I want to give you the family you deserve. I want that too, I admit. But not yet. Let's just be us first. Let's learn how to be partners before we try to be parents. However long it takes. I pull back to look at him. Last question, 6 months ago, you asked me something. Are you going to ask again? His eyes widen slightly. Then, slowly, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out the velvet box I've seen twice before, once on Sarah's hall table, once in a warehouse covered in blood. Elena Russo, he says, his voice steady but his hands trembling. You are the bravest, strongest, most stubborn woman I've ever met. You've seen me at my worst and you're still here. You've given me a chance I don't deserve. And I swear, he pauses. No. No swearing. I'll show you, every day for the rest of our lives, that you made the right choice. Will you marry me? I look at the ring. At his face.